Where's Kelly?
I'm back here.
Oh, Kelly, pull yourself up on that boulder. Use those Gelman gloves and pull yourself up. All right, we wrap up live at home week in the great outdoors with some landscaping tips. Technically, we're indoors, but our guest is in his yard somewhere in New Jersey.
Fancy.
Welcome back from TV's Secret Celebrity Renovation, Jason Cameron. Jason, good to have you back with us.
Hey, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Welcome to my landscape.
Yeah, well, we got
Jason,
some
it's
big,
so nice.
big boulders here in front of us.
Yeah,
What are we
really
doing with
big
these?
boulders.
Boulders are great. I get a lot of questions from people all the time about how do I enhance my landscape? Well, boulders are a great way to enhance your landscape design, create landscape plateaus and grade changes. As you can see, I've got a lot of boulders behind me. I placed all of these myself. They're big, they're heavy, but they do a great job to really add visual interest and to change the grade of the landscape. And it just makes a really big impact in a large landscape.
So that's why you've got that
Those
pump.
boulders aren't there already. You put those there.
Yes, Kelly, I put those there myself.
Wow.
Brought them in. And most of these were lifted, and they're a little too heavy for me to move myself. I can lift a lot, but these are a little too much. But yes, these were all brought in. It's just a great way to really increase and change your landscape by using natural things like boulders to make it look like it was always there, but you actually placed them there.
Okay, what about keeping the plants healthy? What do we need to know?
Yeah, so I think you guys have an example of the drip irrigation line in front of you there.
Yes, we
That
do.
is what I'm using. Drip irrigation is one of my favorites, because I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I've got an example of it here. This runs throughout my landscape. Drip irrigation is great because you use up to 50% less water than a normal irrigation system, less erosion, less water waste, and it puts the water right at the roots of the plants underneath the mulch, which is where you want it, and you use a lot less. So drip irrigation is the way to go, whether it's a large area or a small area, because it conserves a lot of water and keeps the plants healthy.
And we've seen what it looks like when there's very dark mulch all over your landscape. We've got some dark mulch here. What is the purpose of the mulch?
So as you can see, I have black mulch throughout my landscape. I chose this because I like the contrast. I love the contrast between the colors and the black. It's really the icing on the cake, if you will. And I chose that for that reason. But there's a lot of different mulches you can go with. It's just the black mulch is a really good base to use for flowers and things that are the color change.
It's true. It does look really pretty.
Well, the contrast is important. Now, there are a lot of benefits to mulching, right? We're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Let's
benefits,
get a break
and I'm happy
and
to
talk
go over all
about
those.
the benefits of mulching, the verb, right after this. Stay with us.
Mulching.
We're back with Jason Cameron. We are discussing the benefits of mulch. So why is mulching good, Jason?
Mulch is really good for your landscape for a couple of reasons. Number one, it protects the soil, and that's the most important thing. Not only does it give color and contrast to the plants, but it protects the soil. I get the question all the time, how much mulch should I use? The rule of thumb is between 2 and 3 inches. You don't want to go too heavy, like over that, because you get less water intrusion, and you don't want to go less than that because then you get the sun caking down on the soil. So 2 to 3 inches is great. It protects the soil. Does a really good job of that. And I know you guys have some other samples.
Yeah, we have other
mulches, correct?
mulch samples here.
One looks like chocolate
yeah.
nibs.
Yeah, yeah, don't want to eat them though. What you guys have is examples of different colors that you can use, and I get questions all the time about the dye that's used, right? Is it safe? What I tell people is normally you do want to check with your supplier, but normally what they use is an iron oxide for the red and a carbon-based for the black. So in other words, charcoal. And then the other is iron oxide, which is basically rust. So it is very safe for the environment. And the other type that they use is a vegetable source, which is also very safe. But you do want to check that. And you also, the other important thing about mulch is you want to understand what it's made of. Not so much the dye, but what is it coming from? Is it recycled construction materials? That's what you want to avoid. You want to make sure you're getting wood that is coming from trees that are either taken down or fell. And those are actually processed, and that's where you're getting your mulch.
And
so
one
that's
of this
important to know.
is one of this rubber?
One of those is rubber. I'm glad you brought that up because rubber is a great example of an inorganic that you can use as a transition. Let's say you have kids that are going to be playing in an area. You can transition to rubber mulch, which obviously is going to cushion the fall, and you don't have to worry about that as much. It's very safe for kids to play on. So that's a good transition thing if you want something inorganic around areas like your house, for example, where you don't want as many insects.
Really quick, you said that it's important to make sure that the mulch comes from trees and not from recycled construction wood. is there like a
hazard?
health reason, a hazard reason, or?
Yeah, well, it's more about the product that they're using. So if they're using like a recycled treated lumber, which can be the case if they're using construction materials that maybe it's a pallet, let's say, that was carrying chemicals.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
that's possible. But what you'll find is when you go to your local store and you buy a bag, you want to look for a seal that is the MSC seal. And what that stands for is soil and mulch. Soil and mulch company, or soil and mulch. It's basically what it is it's basically been certified that it's not from treated lumber.
Got
and
it.
you'll find that on the bag.
Understood. Yeah, got it.
Soil and Mulch Council, I'm sorry, Soil and Mulch Council.
Got it.
And if you see that on the bag, that means it doesn't come from a treated lumber source. It comes from a more natural source.
So, JC, Kelly usually plants her garden every year, and she wants to have this beautiful garden, and she's always complaining the deers get in. The deers, not the deer?
The deer.
Yeah, the deer get in and
Deers.
eat her garden. How does she avoid the deer in Manhattan?
Ryan, I get a lot of deers in my landscape.
do.
I bet you do.
Deers, John?
Yeah, so that is a huge problem. All my neighbors have the same issue. Deer eat everything, right? Everything. The one thing they don't touch, they've never touched, is Russian sage. I know you guys have an example of
Russian
that.
sage?
Right there.
Oh,
I'm
I love
showing you that. Yeah, I'm showing you that right here. And there's a lot of bees, and bees are really important because they pollinate. So there's a lot of bees. They love Russian sage. The deer do not touch this. They haven't touched it. It grows. You can see we leave it natural. It's about 6 feet tall. It's self-seeding, so it can really go crazy. You can see how big this is. And then to my left, I have catmint, which is another one. It's another perennial that does
Katniss.
really well. It's drought tolerant, low maintenance,
like
and the
Croatian
deer
sage.
don't touch it.
Great stuff. Check out Celebrity Renovation Friday nights on CBS. Thank you, Jason Cameron.
Jason, thanks. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Coming up next, we go outside and we grill, Ripa. We grill.